Good morning, everyone. Good morning, umbraCoffee guests. How are we all doing in this amazing Friday? Hello, Lotte. Hello, Matt and Lucy. How are you?
Hello.
Great, thank you. How are you?
Great Friday, great week.
We've got Tiggy as well. That's good.
Do we have any hidden guests?
First,
So right.
Many people on umbraCoffee in quite a while, which is great to see. But we've never had a dog as a guest.
Yes. We have the sidecar Spice making my internet. Oh, that's nice. How's your week? How's your week? How's your contributions to Umbraco?
No, it's been pretty lately, just playing with the ball and under the desk.
Trying not to overheat. Tiggy, not me.
Sounds similar to ours week, right, Callum? It's nothing happened, playing the ball, having fun. But no, it was yet another busy week in the Umbraco sphere again. And today we have a lot of topics to discuss about. But of course, we have some special guests. And I must say, your studio setup is amazing. We need to rent it for another umbraCoffee. It's just. I just said before we went live that my lighting was destroyed by my daughter, because we were having a dancing parties and all the special effects done by this lamp, and it didn't survive. So right now we are where we are. But yeah, it looks amazing. And Lotte, you also have a lot of great accessories behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's a lot to zoom in at.
Work hard and be nice to people. That's a nice motto.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Nice card. Don't know who I'm going to send this to, but someone will get it.
You had a nice "you sync all the things" on the whiteboard behind you a couple of weeks ago when you were.
Yeah, in one of my other home offices. Yeah.
That's nice. Cool. So as we are all here, we can start from discussing the deadline that faced us all today. And time flies. We must all admit to that. CodeCabin Deadline is today. And we still, and you are people who are watching us today, hopefully, you can still apply. So Lucy, Matt, Lotte, Callum, tell us more about your perception on CodeCabin, what it is, why people need to apply, and how you are proceeding with the application so far.
Shall I go? Yeah, so applications are going well, and we always get a flurry in the last week before the deadline. I think people leave it to the last minute and then suddenly remember, and we get a whole heap in. So it's good to see. So yeah, CodeCabin is happening this year, finally, after a 2-year break. So excited for that. So the weekend is on the 16th to the 19th of September at our usual venue, which is a really nice redone cattle shed. So all the rooms are en suite. We've got loads of breakout spaces, lots of communal areas, a games room. Everything's included in the ticket price. So it's £350 for a ticket if you're selected from your application. All the meals and drinks are included. Breakfast, lunches, dinner, snacks. We have a movie night. It's all very exciting. But it's completely chilled as well. So you can do as much or as little as you want. You can be as involved as you want or whatever. Just come along and enjoy it, is the motto, I think. So. But yeah, but as people who've attended, Callum, Lotte, it's nice to hear what other people think. We know from an organiser perspective and how that goes, but it's good to know how people who've attended have found it as well.
Well, go on, Callum, as I now straddle being an attendee and an organiser. So.
That's it.
Yeah, I've only
you might be biased a little bit.
I've only been once, but it was. I'd like to use the word enlightening. I met people who I wouldn't have engaged with otherwise, or people who I thought were a bit different to how they actually were, and that was quite nice because it's a more intimate setting, isn't it? You're kind of sitting around on sofas, a bit more comfortable, just sort of having a chat. And there's sometimes a bit of structure, and there's a lot of time where it's not structured, and that was really good. I was also for people that know me well, I don't like roughing it. or anything like that. I like camping's my worst nightmare. Like I like the nicer things in life.
Did you hear about glamping recently? That's the new word.
That's my idea of hell. Anyway, but this is far from that. I was kind of expecting a sort of, with 25 people in a house, it's going to be a bit chaotic. It's probably going to be a bit run down. No, the place is beautiful, really beautiful.
Yeah, good job you didn't apply for 2016. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, maybe the first one.
It was a learning
That year
curve.
that had a
I
hot
made it
tub.
work, but you know.
Did that year have a hot tub? And I've heard things about the hot tub.
Yeah, we never have a hot tub.
Again.
No.
Very good idea. But yeah, no, venue's lovely, and of course, hospitality, fantastic. Cannot fault the work that you do there, Lucy. Like really excellent. So it's just a lovely weekend amongst friends, old and new, hopefully.
Yeah, it's amazing how you can go from having never met someone before. You meet them at 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon at CodeCabin. You leave on Monday morning, and it's like, I don't remember not knowing this person, because you've got the time to have one-on-one conversations. You can have group conversations. You can do coding together, watch movies, as you say, play silly games, whatever. Go for a nice walk if the weather. Cross fingers if the weather's kind. It's a beautiful part of the United Kingdom. It's a Peak District. So yeah, you can go for lovely walks with people, and it's all of that hallway networking that you do at Code Garden in a relaxed 3-day environment that you get. And you can basically sit next to Matt Brailsford and show him some code, and he's not allowed to stand up until he's got it working. So, you know, it's an excellent opportunity. And it's not just code either. It's like we've had sort of small business chats, or how do you go about marketing packages, or how do you learn things, or just completely non-dev stuff, because we're all human beings.
I wrote a single line of code. I don't think I got my laptop out really during the weekend, which is lovely.
Yeah, it's just relaxed. That's the word I think for it.
But what we've mentioned it multiple times about the CodeCabin, that it becomes an MVP factory or something like that, because a lot of people were awarded with MVP titles, and as Lotte, you've said, there's a lot of friendships that were born there. And we found one more tweet from Emma Brailsford, who is right now the HQ team member and director in HQ. Emma mentioned that when she started to dive into the community, she didn't know many people, and also when she registered and started collaborating, and when advised to anyone to apply, because that was a huge push and huge help for elevating maybe the community activity to another level, and making, as you've mentioned, all new friends and new relations that stays until now, and also created a lot of other initiatives and collaborations that are visible across the community. So apply.
That was the first time I met Emma.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to kind of add to that point and sort of what you were saying, Lotte, about it being relaxed. I don't think CodeCabin is a 3-day event. I actually think it lasts a lot longer, and this is sort of why you've got that community impact, as you say, the longer lasting relationships with people. Maybe it's an MVP factory, I don't know, but maybe encouragement to be more involved in the community, because it starts from a few weeks before, maybe a little bit before, a Slack channel is created, people are invited to it, and that Slack channel is still very active today. People talk daily on there about, you know, life or just community things, and so from way before to way after, you have people remaining active in their communities. So it's take her along the way. It's a much longer experience than just that weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's kind of a support network. So if you're trying to get into the community, I think going to things like Code Garden and different events, you can actually be alone during that. It's like it's hard to get into sometimes with people already being in groups, and you don't know how to enter into that community or into those different groups. Whereas with CodeCabin, we're basically creating a mini group with everybody who's in the same boat. You're all meeting each other for the first time, and when you come away from that, you've got a group of people within the community that you can go to and get support. And I think that's what's made people or created so many MVPs. I think they always wanted to contribute and wanted to be involved, they just didn't know how. And by creating a mini support network, it's just what they needed to kind of elevate themselves and find their way in the community. So I think it's a really good way of creating that support network and supporting people in the community.
I know that Emma, which you were saying about Lotte, sorry, but I know Emma's first year as kind of a developer. I think she went to CodeCabin, and then I know that the first talk she ever did was about her CodeCabin experience, and so you can see how that's kind of been a part of the start of her journey, and it's motivated her to do everything she's done now. So
my favorite one of my favorite CodeCabin memories is Sunday morning waking up in the girls' bunk room, as it was in 2016. And it was myself, Emma Burstow, Emma Garland, and P. Williams. And Emma Burstow was full of questions. She was quite new to this. And it was like, right, none of us have got up yet. We're all just lying in bed. And she just started asking questions like, like this word courier, what's courier? And what's this, what's that? And we were just lying in bed on a Sunday morning, just having a really good deep dive into all this stuff without even having to, sit up. It was quite unique, really.
I don't know if you have the concept of green schools in UK, but it's like a trip with the school group, and exactly like this. You're lying on the beds and just discussing things from under the carpet or something like that. So that's amazing. But what I wanted to mention previously was about surrounding with the right people, because then the energy is the cumulative energy, right? So even though if you have less motivation or something like that, and then you see 5 or 10 or 20 other people who are energized to do more, then the energy is shared, and everyone can get some of it, this energy. And if it stays for longer, even than the weekend, and what we all seen that it is, that's the most beauty part of it. And definitely, if someone is looking for motivation, I don't know, answers for questions to be answered straight from the bed, even though that's definitely the great opportunity, which is still open. And you've specified the time zone to be used. BST is the time zone.
We're not on people with midnight.
12 hours and 17 minutes, or 16 minutes to go to apply. Not long. Very quickly before we move along, I was just going to ask, what's behind the scenes? What's the process for being selected? Because I know there's quite a lot of work that goes into curating a well-rounded mixed group. So can you spoil a little bit for us about what happens there?
Well, I guess we all the hosts and organisers, we basically sit down with all of the applications and go through each one one by one. So it really is about the application and putting across what would you get from it, because we want to know what people would get from it. It's the mix of people that's the important thing. So we need to make sure that we are making that mix. So if we can't get like what your journey is or what you want to achieve, then we can't quite get everybody together. But putting your application in is the biggest thing, and just put across even just enthusiasm. And like, again, it doesn't have to be about what you know and what skills you have. It can be that you're wanting to get involved, you want to learn, you want to share. It's producing that mix. So we sit down, we go through the applications, read all of the information that people put, and then just try and work out who we think would be the right mix, a right balance of people with stuff to give, enough people that want to learn. And we try and get people who've been to CodeCabin before, because I think sometimes as well, the first time you come can be overwhelming, and it's not until you've gone away and you've thought about it, you can come the next time you come back, you'll probably learn something different than the first time you attended. And I think then that also helps with people who are new attendees to kind of get that story across as well. So
we try to pick as a diverse group as possible as well. All different backgrounds, all different skill levels, so that when people come together, the conversation is also diverse. So there's different ideas. Somebody who's maybe only just started using Umbraco, it's fresh eyes, it's new questions, it's a different way of thinking to somebody that's perhaps been using it for years. I think that's basically what we do. But it's very hard because everybody who applies is so lovely. We might not have met them before. There might be new names, so you want to get as many new people in as possible as well. So it's really difficult, and it is oversubscribed, and we do get a lot of applications. So to say no to people is really difficult. But
have to run one every weekend.
Okay.
Permanent location in like the houses in San Francisco in the startup areas, right? Like everyone can visit.
Umbraco
One day.
incubator.
Okay, so we'll crowdfund a 10-bedroom mansion that we will live in, and then we'll
One
do
day,
it.
one day. Right now, all what we can do is exactly to use our channel to make your life harder and make you more applicants, even though, and more no's to say. And that will be also the benefit, because I'm sure that it will make you also happier to see more people interested in the idea. So do it, please, people, and make the life of organizers both harder and better. And yeah, it's not that far away in time, or because it's just at the end of the summer. So that's close. And segueing to the next topic, the question might be: will it be a lot of discussions about DXP at CodeCabin? Because that's the great segue to another topic, which was, of course, mentioned in the Skrift article this week, because DXP is a thing. And again, maybe someone still doesn't understand it, right, Callum? We might still raise the questions about DXP. So, and I'm sure there will be people who will be able to describe it better, right?
The gist of this article was we're already doing DXP, basically. It was saying, well, Umbraco is somewhat composable. You have options. You can choose your e-commerce platform of choice if you'd like, and you can replace it. It's not a terrible job to replace. So it's kind of Alex has sort of summarized here all the various different options you've got for doing different things. There was some very good discussions on Twitter after this. I know, Matt, you were involved in some of those about sort of actually, whilst we talk about DXP, we talk about these kind of DXP aggregator tools, and Umbraco being maybe the hub of the DXP thing, but then you can't really compare it against something where you can like just swap out, say, vendor for Shopify. That's not really sort of where we're talking about DXP in the Umbraco world, is it?
No, and I think I just ultimately, for me, DXP ends up being just about choice. Like, you've got the choice to use something else. I think the alternative is the monolith, and that's usually the product itself has its own e-commerce system or whatever, and you can't use anything other than that system. So to me, it's just about choice. So that could be externally hosted solutions where you have to log into multiple systems, or the approach that we take, which is we still use Umbraco as the hub, and you don't have to use vendor for e-commerce, but it's there as an option to plug in. So to me, that's still DXP. I think it's just there's different ways that you can look at it, I think, and like I said, to me, it's just about choice.
Yeah. And easiness of replacing the things, even if it's not plug in, plug out. Something like treat it as a separated microservice, something like separated dependency, which is doing the specific bounded context thing is great. And here I really like this article. I read it today in the morning, and to be honest, we all been looking for a lot of answers and a lot of understanding, and we've been discussing a lot about the composability of Umbraco ecosystems, and it's great to see more of it coming. Umbraco is doing a lot of work to bring more partners and bring more platforms to be partially integrated, and or to prove that they might be integrated easily or easier than it looks like from the outside. So it's great to see more of it, and again, we will be definitely hearing more about DXP and composable DXP from various sources, and it's great to see it's implemented. And I still have a to-do on my list to watch Paul Marden's talk from CodeGarden this year, because I know he was also mentioning a lot of interesting takeaways on that journey with the components across the architecture. So good to see that, and again, a great article in Skrift from this month's release. And second one was from Busra about the custom language analyzer for Umbraco 8. Again, it was for Umbraco 8, so it might be a little bit different approach than currently used or practiced.
TLDR of this is Lucene 3 was not good at this stuff. Lucene 4 is a lot better at these sorts of things. And I've had people asking me this week about like my facets package, for example, for Examine. Mm-hmm. The reality is it does most of that out of the box now. So maybe there isn't a need for it. And that's the same thing here. So this specific example was a Norwegian analyzer where we actually clobbered together like a German analyzer and some Norwegian stuff from modern Lucene to try and make something work. But it sort of explains the kind of principles of what you need to do to make multilingual work in Lucene. And it's something that I know when Busra was given this task, she went away and sort of did a Google search, as you would, and it was very inconclusive. There was no real material about this. So in many ways, this is kind of creating documentation for the feature analyzers.
Mm-hmm. So if anyone is struggling with the same thing right now, it will be easier to find it in Google, and also it's on the Skrift, so you can check it out and also implement it the similar way or explore the other ways out there. And that's from the Skrift release. We had a couple releases and a couple discussions about releases this week as well. So we can start from Uskind, another Umbraco 10 ready package that is very popular, very big, and very heavily used by many site builders. Now ready for V10, and with a lot of improvements, a lot of basically upscales and features fixed and upgraded to the recent version. So if anyone is using Uskind and wants to use it with the V10 website, that now it is possible. So that's amazing, and also with the WebP image support and some other crazy things out there. So yeah, great announcement and great achievement from the Uskind team. And Danwoof again. Last week we spoke about some teasers from the package work, right? That might be interesting to build. And now we have a package. It's Diplo Translator for V10. Enabling us to use Microsoft translations for dictionary items. So yeah, ready to be tested. I don't know if anyone have seen it from you guys, or did you test it or done anything with automated translations during your work?
I mean, this looks fantastic and makes a lot of sense. And it's weird how, because Umbraco's of course got a sort of Kevin's obviously built his translation manager on top of these sorts of things, and it plugs into the dictionary. But it's something that Umbraco's it's been severely lacking in Umbraco, this dictionary section, for a long time. And it's good to see someone innovating, making people's lives easier too, because this really, it's a nightmare when you're filling in translations. If you're doing multilingual sites, I've had numerous clients go, "Oh, why is this English or something?" It's because, well, during development we just smacked a load of random values in there and didn't really think it through. So this at least adds a bit of a sanity check, perhaps, to those values. But
generally, dictionary sections received a lot of love recently. The copying, the moving variant, the folders as well, and the other things that are right now making it all easier. And with automated translations, we are getting there. So more multilingual improvements needed. And Dan is on fire, so I'm sure that there will be more of them soon. Continuing Dan's explorations. Now something what got taken out from his work is a copy action on the data types level. So
he's added this into God mode, so it's available now. If you want to go update God mode, you can copy data types. But if you look in this thread, I think Patrick Demoy said he's had a pull request open for quite a while to do this directly in the CMS.
There's a PR,
which would make sense. And Seb asked a really interesting question about any other places we could see copying being helpful, and I can think of many. So I think I'll reply to that. This is a natural thing.
We can see that sometimes the small actions are missed, or we expect them to be there. And I remember it was on probably the MVP gathering before the Code Garden 1 year, when we were cleaning the trees in Umbraco upgraded version, and some of the actions might be removed too fast and then never re-implemented. So that might be when they got lost. But now it looks like they are getting back and will be able to really flexibly manage everything in Umbraco. But here, the nice use case was, I never thought about it this way, to be honest. It's like when we create the block list, the grid definitions, and we want to reuse them easily. Recreate them from scratch. And here, relatively small improvement, but I'm sure that this was a still pretty complicated thing behind the scenes.
That was one of
the
examples I had of somewhere that copying maybe at a more macro level would be helpful to, within a block list editor, when you're creating it, be able to copy the configuration for one item between different blocks, because or the grid, for example, when you're setting up different row configurations, be able to say, I want to copy that over to my other grid data type. Someone suggested having a bunch. Oh, there was a separate conversation, but there was a whole bunch of discussions about nested content versus block list this week, and the beauty, the simplicity of nested content, and somehow block list feeling a little bit more meaty and perhaps not as nice to get configured, but having a bunch of like out of the box configured samples for this is a simple nested content style editor, or this is a sort of page builder thing, might be helpful too. Copying and pasting would help there.
I think with the block list editor, I have to think a bit too hard each time, probably because I don't do it as often as if I did, and then it would become muscle memory. But and I think Mark Goodson made this point on Twitter, and perhaps that's just the difference. It's like, okay, hold on, so what's involved in doing this again, and then going through it, and it's just that little hurdle. I remember years ago reading a book, Don't Make Me Think, the key thing of websites, don't make me think. And it's like, I still have to think. And now I'm getting older, I don't want to think anymore. So, you know.
I'm all more for simplicity, and I think a great example of that is Lee's Contentment, which has got really great copy support between between the different controls. So I think that's a really good example of that.
Yeah, and again, we are not only getting older, but also lazier, and we want to deliver everything faster. So thinking about things is not making it faster. So whatever can be simple is perfect, as someone said as well. So let's make it all simpler for us all. Another package which I wanted to mention is something what I spoke with Sotiris back in the days. It was one of the packages that was bundled in the set of other packages related with the multilingual variants, and now it's taken out and released as a separate plugin for Umbraco 9.4 Plus, and it's a variant hider. So we can toggle and untoggle the variants and make the tree from translations not look like this, but look like this, a lot cleaner from the perspective of the translations that are not there yet, maybe, right? So I think, again, really something what makes the cleaner view on the tree structure for the content. And recently, even though I had a couple of questions, what this blocks means there in the tree section, why they are there, or some websites which are non-intentionally added some languages translations and switch from the default translations, and then the whole tree is looking like that. So maybe more documentation is needed around this, but this package definitely will help for the conscious usage of translations and easier life for editors who don't want to deal with maybe other languages that much. So I really like it. So good work, Sotiris, for releasing this one. And the another one is Icon Picker. So the collection of icons are possible to be selected from there, and of course we can use them from the property selection and render the icons on the front end. Version 10 plus, so new package only for .NET, newest version, ready to be used.
I think that's a new package developer as well, not just a new package, but it's their first package. I think perhaps they've done it as a company, but
it's a company one. Yes. But they had the URL tracker back in the day. 301 URL tracker was their big package and was very widely used. I don't know if they kept that one going or if 301 URL tracker.
That's a shame then, isn't it? Because if you release it as the company, which you probably have to do because it's the company's time perhaps, but then the person who developed the package, because I think they said on Discord it was their first package, I think they wouldn't qualify for the new package award developers.
Oh, well, so if only me someone who could change the criteria.
Just change it.
It's something I've always said, like, even if it's for the company, it's better to be released individually and then promoted by the company.
Individual.
No. Except if the company owns the IPR or whatever that acronym is.
Maybe. We don't get into that unless
someone makes that's politics. Really that's politics. That's politics. We don't want to go that way.
But yeah, sure.
And last on our releases list is something what you've released, Matt, this week, and what you were tweeting about.
This isn't out there yet, is it, Matt?
What's that?
Yeah, it is.
The This is
It's injected virtual nodes for
virtual
construct.
nodes in the tree.
Yeah, that one's out.
Hey,
There's
That's
a couple
out.
more
Can you
things after that aren't out yet. But
I like the emojis reflections here. What was awesome and what is more awesome finding inside of the code. But can you tell more people who didn't follow the threads what you did and what was the motivation maybe behind it?
Well, somebody asked me about it, but I'd also been thinking about it for a while as well. We do have the ability to put content apps in, which is like linking a collection to a specific node. But there are occasions potentially where you might want to render that rather than a content app as an actual node within a tree. So say within the content tree. But then that got me thinking as well of, we obviously develop Vendor as well, the e-commerce product, and we know what people are doing as customizations. And there's a lot of things that people are implementing that are not necessarily out of the box, but would sit perfectly within like the commerce section. It's relevant to the commerce section. So it'd be great if people developing those extensions were able to inject like configurations, collections, and the management UI for certain things to be in there as well. So we were seeing how far we could push it, and I think I was pretty surprised at how far we've managed to do. We basically can render a full construct tree in a specific point within another tree and have that all work. So it's just really quite a powerful way of being able to extend both Umbraco and the content tree and media trees, but also third-party packages. If you need to extend them beyond what those packages can do, then you can actually do that with construct and inject those trees as well.
We've done similar in the past where we've got an internal package that's moved a node from the content tree to its own tree somewhere. So the example use case is vendor, you want your products to live under your store in the tree. And so it moves the actual content tree there. It's still using the content tree. So it's sort of what you've done, but the opposite, where you've got a different data source, but the principle is very valid. And the examples you showed there was a vendor one where they had some loyalty points, exactly. A perfect use case. Pretty perfect use case.
Yeah, and again, Matt, you've also asked for some feedback and ideas from the community about what extension points can be also done for construct and what people wants to do with that. And still, I think there is a lot of ideas flying around. And as I've mentioned before, we went live. The way how construct enables us to extend Umbraco with and then connects right now both ways, not only to the custom dashboards and sections and trees, but also the other way around. Makes it all even more flexible, and Umbraco will still feel like a native platform for managing various types of data across the various places in the Umbraco. So please let us know, Matt, what are the crazy other ideas you want to do with the injections, data exchanges, and custom sections and trees, because looks like construct will rule it all. That's yep.
The better I can make it, I might be able to win a third award.
Yeah, that's definitely going to happen, because from what it looks, and Callum, you've shared the idea of having more charts and of course more graphs, as we've all mentioned.
You asked this week, didn't you, Matt? What are people doing in the back office that maybe you do regularly or you find annoying? And we've shown you one of our custom dashboards, loads of charts and graphs on it. It would have been fantastic for construct. Like it was pre-construct, but it like charts are somewhere that they can look really powerful, really visual, really good for users, but they're a real pain to configure in code. And there's so much you can do, but you just got to write loads and loads and loads of code to do it. So if construct could do that, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Cool. Maybe demo on one of the further umbraCoffees then.
Sounds happy sounds like that should have its own license fee though, because we know how much work it is. So construct.graphs or something. Just because otherwise, Matt, you're doing all our work for that one license fee. So it doesn't.
Well, I just increase it.
Composable construct. That would be the thing.
I get the impression that Matt quite likes simplifying these things or making more and more stuff possible through the Fluent API. It almost is like a passion passion project that hopefully you can
I
make
like
something.
simplifying things. I wouldn't necessarily recommend anybody goes out creating builders because they are an absolute nightmare in the code to manage. But being able to make a really clean API is like amazing. That how much little code it takes to like implement these things with constructs, which always blows my mind, even though I wrote it. But...
That's true. That's true. Cool. So there will be some more opportunities to talk about ideas and crazy ideas, maybe less or more crazy ideas, because meetups are back, and then there are some meetups even during the summer. Even though some of them are online, the Roundtable online of London's group is there. Can you tell us more about it, people from London?
Yeah,
what it is, when it's happening.
Online Roundtable on Thursday, July the 14th. A week next Thursday.
Yeah.
Online. We're just going to do another online one because it's nice. We've got lots of people from around the world who've been coming to our online one, so it's nice to be able to do both virtual and physical, I think.
Ravi's organising this one, so I don't think we know the full plan, but yeah, it's a discussion, what's been going on in the community, and also I think maybe a little bit of
summary of CodeCabin.
What's to come as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about whatever people want to talk about and sing Marvin Gaye songs by the look of it from the What's Going On title.
There was a bit of debate about the punctuation in that, wasn't there?
Yes. Yes. There is now an apostrophe. Tick.
The important things, of course, there. And the next one is Sydney Meetup, which is back after 2 years. 2 years, yeah, 2 years. So, the Sydney Umbraco Meetup are back, and it will be in person in Microsoft Reactor. So, yeah, anyone who is watching us from Sydney or have anyone in the down there can spread the word and make sure that everyone will be aware that Umbraco meetups are back. Speaking about different places in the world, we can also mention something what we've unrevealed and decoded from the emojis chain a couple of weeks back, if I'm correct. It was, of course, Umbraco US Summit that is happening this year on September 29th in Charlotte, North Carolina, and there are some more details about it already, but also there is a newsletter sign up to be informed about the process, of course, but there was some things, call for proposals.
Call for speakers, and it's open till the 22nd of July, so you've got just over 2 weeks.
But it's called a summit and not a festival.
Yeah.
Is that a warning bell?
No.
I don't know what.
Again, I'm not trying to spoil anything, but basically,
don't spoil it.
It's organised by HQ compared to the previous event, which has been a festival, and it's been organised by the community. So it's not a festival, but they're still working with the previous organisers. So it's being driven and led by HQ, but I think with some input from the community. But it's purely because the US market's quite different. Where over here we can do a festival and attract lots of developers from agencies. The culture over there is quite different. They've got a lot more corporates, bigger companies with in-house teams, or a few small agencies. But it's a very, very different ecosystem. So I think this event is actually a bit better catered for that market than the festivals have been in the past.
It's a great photo of Philip.
It is.
Yeah. And of course, it's coming from Flickr album, about which we'll be talking about soon. So we'll discuss that. But before then, we can talk about something else. And this is another new release, CodeCabin related and festival related. And Lotte, you probably are the best person to ask for more details about it. What was covered in this episode of Candid Contributions podcast?
We are talking about, 3/4 of Candid Contributions were in person at CodeCabin this year. Carol was very much missed and was not. So we talk a bit about the in-person CodeCabin. We also, Carol interviewed Owen Williams-Bushra and Tim Payne, who were also virtual attendees this year, and just wanted to hear about what the virtual experience was, because the hybrid conferences, I think in person, kind of quite easy to forget that there was the hybrid aspect. Lucy, of course, you were watching from afar. And hopefully, I mean, from what our interviewees said, they enjoyed it. Obviously, you missed the real life interactions, but still came away with that elusive Code Garden effect. And we kind of asked people what that was in terms of, being all enthused and ready to try new things. Carol doing a Twitter space the week after, definitely a Code Garden effect of, let's give it a go. And everyone's really engaged and stuff. So that's what it's about. But I should stop talking because you should really listen.
Don't spoil. Yeah, everyone should listen. But that's great.
I often miss when those when the Candid contribution episodes get posted, especially when I go through the news on a Friday for umbraCoffee, because they don't always have the Umbraco hashtag. But today it popped up and it reminded me that I needed to see it, because I saw it in the Twitter feed on whatever Tuesday, and just the week got away from me. So it's a nice.
We need to improve our bots gathering data for us, Callum. Right? That's
Have I just let away a secret about how we gather umbraCoffee?
Shh. Don't spoil too much. Speaking about Code Garden in-person experience, the albums from both Code Garden and Partner Summit the day before Code Garden were released this week, and there's a lot of great pictures of people and talks and everything what was involved into the great events organization. So if you haven't seen that yet, please check it out. And that's the thing. I didn't see anything from the online experience, but there was a photo booth, not the photo booth, the photo wall that all the online participants from the applications could share the photos. And I thought that this is also a kind of nice hybrid mixture of how it can be all combined, right? There were some pictures on the
album still available in Spotly. Is the photo wall still available? Because that'd be really
probably
nice. I mean, I'm not suggesting they put them all on Flickr, but having a kind of a memento of the event from a hybrid point of view would be lovely.
Yeah, that's the wall, right? So everyone who participated both online and offline could share the pictures from the participation, and it was all highlighted out there. So that's definitely a way to contribute from online and offline worlds. And the Partner Summit, similar, and the links to both albums will be also included in the episode's description, so you can find yourself there if you were attending the event there. Something else related to Code Garden, an overview of behind the scenes of the Package Awards, so something what also affected some of you here. So Dennis Adolfi shared how it was looking from the perspective of one of the jury members. So interesting, and again, there's a highlight of the whole jury panel. Very nice set of people who were judging the packages this year, and how it looks, how it was tested, and everything else. I don't want to read it and spoil it as well, so check it out. But it looks it's really great to see how the process also looked, and for everyone who will be participating in the next years, to understand how it's done and why someone wins, why someone doesn't win, and etc.
There's also a call out there, which you can just see on the screen now, of if having read this blog, this really appeals to someone to be on the judging panel, then please get in touch with the package team, because it isn't a closed group. It's just a bunch of kind people who've given up the time that we've asked in the last 2 years to do it. So
I didn't realize who was on the jury. Actually, it was quite nice to see this reveal, and I didn't notice that open call. So that's very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't make the start of the show at Code Gardens. That might be why. And I know Marcin definitely didn't.
That's true. That's true. So that's why these blogs are helpful for all us all to understand what's going on. Another thing, what is on our list, we are going towards the end, is the tabs and spaces, and we want to go to the battle here, right? We want to go to the battle.
Well, so I've thrown this in there because Joe on my team shared this earlier in the week, and it's incredibly thought-provoking. So tabs and spaces, we kind of argue it like it's a choice. And this person's sort of explaining why actually using spaces creates an accessibility issue for people who are using code on, for example, a Braille screen, which I'd never even considered. And we were also then internally this week talking about the ways we can mitigate or ways we can use tabs to kind of set things up how we want it. So the idea being you can more accurately control the indentation that you visually see in your IDE by using tabs, because you can say, well, a tab equals this many spaces, or this much indentation, I should say. And even in a lot of the tools that you may not realize, GitHub, for example, for previewing code, you're able to set what a tab means. So it's not something we're going to be going out and doing, like converting every one of our projects to and being sort of very hard-lined on it, but it's something we'll be a lot more considerate of in future now. So the link will be down below. I highly recommend you read this. Yeah. It's very thought-provoking.
And also we are usually not thinking about everything, and there are people who are thinking about more than we do, and it's great to learn. Again, we sometimes think like something might be stupid or not relevant or not important, but it is in many cases. So that's why we need to expand our overview on the things, and this one was really, really good one, and I read it just before the show, and yeah, it's really, really great. So take a read for sure. And last but not least, we wanted to congratulate for everyone who received the Microsoft MVP award. And I don't know if it's all of us from the community, but Callum, Carol, Emma, Purnima, Morten, and Dean.
No, Dean's.
Yep. So
that's a separate thing.
I don't know if I covered everyone.
Marcin, at the start of this episode, you said just add the link in, it'll be fine. And so I did, and then you screwed it up.
I spoiled.
This is how Dean Lees discovered he's got a Microsoft MVP.
Dean, congrats on Microsoft MVP. I need to speak with Microsoft right now because definitely it's MVP worthy. But let's focus on the MVPs first, and then we can jump on Dean. So Callum, Carol, Emma, Morten, and Purnima. I hope I didn't miss anyone, and I didn't give away any Microsoft MVPs because I'm not allowed to.
Dennis?
Yet.
But Dennis was not renewed this year.
Sorry.
He's in his first year. So the renewal process is every year in July the 1st. Okay. You get renewed, but only after you've been in the program at least 1 year. So he was only awarded in December, so he'll be up for renewal next July.
James South.
James South, of course, for the 8th time he was renewed. There's a few MVPs in the community now, which is nice.
Yeah,
really nice.
And maybe for the next year, Dean will receive an MVP as well, because he of the Umbraco contributions and more .NET activities. But today we wanted to highlight something else, right? The really nice first meaningful pull request that got accepted, and Lotte, you've said that it was already released. Is that correct?
Yeah. If you were to look at the documentation section on our.umbraco.com as a mobile viewer, it used to have this ridiculously long menu right at the top. So you'd be scrolling and scrolling because it had all of the links that usually appear on the left-hand side in the desktop. He's now worked his front-end magic, and it's now hidden behind a menu drop-down, so that when you're on the documentation page, the stuff you want to read is actually on the page visible without having a really long scroll. And that was a result of a Umbra collab session, which most of it was spent getting the Hour code base to run. He had to install SQL Server.
It is quite a challenge, actually.
It is, and it's something that I thoroughly recommend you do with other people getting started on the Hour code base. So once we got that up and running, and then Warren helped him a bit more, I think, to finish getting it working. He's now released it. Seb's tested it, and it's been deployed as of this morning. So that's a good Umbra collab success story, and well done, Dean.
And his first pull request, first accepted pull request to any of the Umbraco projects as well, I believe.
That's exactly for what Umbra collabs were made for. Yeah, good one, and we need more of this. And again, it just proves how good collaborations is from the time of writing code to being released on the production. It was just 1 day, right? So that's amazing. So yeah, we can all benefit from using Hour on mobile a little bit better now. And that's all from our list. No more MVPs to give away. Thank you guys for joining us and sharing everything what you're doing. We will remind for the last time on this episode that the CodeCabin applications are closing today at midnight. Less than 12 hours are left. And of course, on the next week, we'll discuss everything Umbraco. and we'll remind us all about all the other deadlines and everything else related to what we do. So yeah, any words at the end of the episode? Lotte, Matt, Lucy?
Apply now.
I'm so bad at this.
Down
Apply
below,
now.
but it's codecab.in, and then there's an apply
Of
button
course.
somewhere near the bottom of the page. Yeah.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Have a great rest of the day, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and see you next week.